The Whispers of Ilgenoth. Now, Mercer asked me to take a look at this. We're going to revisit the Ilgenoth Whispers. Last week, we revisited Xalatath's Whispers, and there was some very interesting whispers there. So let's take a listen, chat, you and me together, and see if there is things that we may have missed. Whether there are things that we may have missed. Is or are, not entirely sure. Are probably better. But okay.
The boy king serves at the master's table. 3 lies will he offer you.
Right out of the gate, we start with a whisper that we all but know the truth of. The boy king has to be Anduin. None of the rest makes sense there. The boy king serves at the master's table. 3 lies will he offer you. Which 3 lies? Now, if we start arguing about Rathian, and we have done so in the past, I always come back to what makes Rathian a king? Only the fact that he will or believes to be the next Black Dragon aspect? Is that enough? Do the aspects consider themselves kings? We know that Queen Azshara is called Queen Azshara, but she's called Queen Azshara because she is considered to be the queen of dragonkind. The aspect of the Black Dragonflight isn't a king, because they're not the consort of the Queen of Dragons, which would be Azshara. It could be king at the end. It is possible, but then what happens to Azshara? Alexstrasza, not Azshara, sorry, yeah. I'm still thinking about Azshara and the previous, books that we've gone through. Alexstrasza, sorry, yeah. Not Azshara. Alexstrasza, the Queen of Dragons. But she's the queen because she's the queen of dragons. She was considered, or she was chosen as the leader of dragonkind. That's not true for the Black Dragon aspect. But Rathian would make more sense than Anduin. 3 lies will he offer you? What lie? That boy has lied a lot, and I feel like it's been more than 3. One of them could certainly be the fact that he is the aspect, or meant to be the aspect. The other lie could be that he isn't corrupted, because he claimed that he isn't. What's the 3rd lie? Do you believe the 3rd lie is yet to come? I'd have to go look at the voice lines of Rathian, because it might be that the 3 lies have been offered in Dragonflight itself. So 3 things that Rathian have told us since the start of... Because Rathian was part of the Drakthir early campaign. Should do the Drakthir early campaign again. Because Rathian said a lot of things in that campaign. And now with a little bit more backstory, we might be able to highlight a few lies there. Well, I'll do that. Maybe next week we'll quickly do another Drakthir playthrough and see what we can discover of Mr. Boy King.
Her heart is a crater, and we have filled it.
Has to be Azeroth, right? It can't be anything else. What else could be? It has to be Azeroth. Her heart is a crater and we have filled it. We know the old gods have buried deep inside Azeroth. We now may even already have a Void Lord on Azeroth. Might be Azshara, but I don't know if it would refer, then again. Zinazari was the heart of Elfkind. It was the heart of the kingdom of Azshara. It truly got turned into a crater. And we know that under the ruins of Zinazari, we find N'Zoth. Her heart is a crater and we have filled it.
The boy king, her heart is a crater, and we have filled it.
It could be Azshara. You guys might be correct there.
The king of diamonds has been made a pawn.
I've said this since the beginning. If you look at everything that Magni has done, right? If you look at all the actions that's been taken, yeah, it has to be Magni, right? There's no denying that it's Magni. Because who else is the King of Diamonds? Literally just him. But if you look at his actions, all of his actions leads to the freeing of N'Zoth. Every single one of them leads to the freeing of N'Zoth. Without the stabbing of the planet, N'Zoth would not become strong enough to eventually break free of his prisons. Magni did not hear from Azeroth. Magni heard from N'Zoth. He thought that he was the voice of Azeroth, but he was the voice of N'Zoth. He was doing what N'Zoth wanted him to do. At least that's my opinion on it. What two whispers are linked, D-Rocker? Her heart is a crater and we have filled it. The old gods have taken over Azeroth's soul. The King of Diamonds is a pawn for the old gods. That's again if we say that they've already taken over Azeroth, which right now there's no evidence for, but that would mean that we've already lost, right? Now, the opposite could be very true, and that would be that Azeroth is the mother of the old gods. Now, if we start looking at these whispers as Azeroth being the mother of the old gods, that kind of makes things a lot more interesting.
Have filled it.
Her heart is a crater and we have filled it. We are her children. We are part of her. A mother holds her children in her heart. Right? That's where her children lives. She loves her children. And if they are her children, it makes sense.
The King of Diamonds has been made a pawn.
And that would make sense too.
At the hour of her third death, she ushers in our coming.
We've never been able to establish this, because it's not Sylvanas. She's had 4 deaths. It has to be Azeroth, but the first death for Azeroth would be Y'Shaarj being pulled out of the planet. The second death for Azeroth would be the Great Sundering, and this took place when Sargeras tried to come through the portal, right? That's the second death. The third death would be the sword. Now, we have to also understand that the old gods play a very, very long game. So for them, that sword being stuck into Azeroth could be the beginning of them being ushered in. So it is entirely plausible that that was the hour of her third death, and that is how she ushered them in. Azshara, because I see many of you in chat saying that, actually makes a hell of a lot more sense when you start thinking about it. At the hour of her third death, she ushers in our coming. Azshara's first death, her city gets pulled under the ocean and she gets offered a way out by becoming Naga. Her second death is at the hands of mortals, where she barely escapes with her life. Her third death is to come. And it is at the hour of her third death. It doesn't say that she will die, simply that she will be near death when she ushers in their coming. So it is to come, your effect, exactly. Exactly that.
From the earth, he draws strength. Our earth, our strength.
What if that's Iridikron? What if it's speaking about Iridikron? He is the primal incarnate of Earth. We know that he struck many a deals. Deathwing, obviously, but Deathwing at this point is already dead. Zaston. Deathwing has already turned on. Jelly Boy, thanks for the first time chat, by the way. Really appreciate that. Malfurion Stormrage, not quite right now anymore. He's already in Ardenweald. Spoiler alert for anyone that hasn't played that storyline yet. But he's in Ardenweald. So Malfurion Stormrage, at least for now, is out of the picture. It could still be Rathian, but Iridikron would make more sense. Especially if we link it to these pages. The Harbinger speaks of a primal power that seeks the end of order. The Harbinger. What if Iridikron is that Harbinger? And Ilgenoth here saying, from the earth he draws strength. Our earth. Our strength. It could be Sibelian too, who is still corrupted. All black dragons right now, you'd be remiss if we ignored the black dragons. So I'm right there with you guys. The black dragons have to be kept in mind here because, well, black dragons are linked to Azeroth intrinsically. That's literally where their power comes from. So whatever corruption is on Azeroth will almost guaranteed be in them. And they will feed on it, because that's where their power comes from in the first place. Well, didn't they say the Harbinger is the Queen? No, they sort of speak about the Harbinger and the Queen as two different beings. We can go through it again, just to make sure that I didn't misunderstand. Rise, rise, our Queen calls to us from beyond the umbral veil. She has transcended the circle of stars and basks in her eternal grandeur. The time we have long awaited is nigh. Even now, the Harbinger gathers the children of the first flesh to reclaim what was lost. They must remember their vows and serve those to whom they owe fealty. While they toil in the deep places, we will journey to the shores of the Dragonlands, to the Blessed Isle, where the Worldbreaker first embraced the Whispers. As one storm recedes, another rises. The torches have been lit. The secrets we buried will strike as a dagger into the hearts of his kin. The Harbinger speaks of a primal power that seeks the end of order. Such rage can be bent to serve our needs. A hunger lost to the ages will be reclaimed. A dark heart left broken awaits the taking. And then when these things come to pass, the Harbinger will fulfill the final prophecy and complete the awakening. Only then shall our Queen return to reign over sea and sky and earth. We must make ready. So the Harbinger and the Queen isn't the same thing. Rise, rise, soon all that was hidden will be revealed. The Harbinger and the Queen, two different beings. It is possible that it might be Iridikron that's being spoken about in this whisper.
Its surface blazes bright, masking shadows below.
We thought that this may have been the Sunwell. You think that's Azeroth? Every time they speak of Azeroth, they say her. They speak of her. Why would they now become it? Its surface blazes bright. It is a thing, not a person, not a being. This might be a stretch, but what if it's Deathwing's sister who's the Harbinger? Adamanthia. Possible. Very possible. Its surface blazes bright, masking shadows below. Elune? Specifically the White Lady? Its surface blazes bright, masking shadows below. Isn't that what a moon does? A moon is actually dark, but the sun reflecting off of a moon makes a moon shine. But a moon is actually dark. A moon doesn't shine on its own. So it could be Elune, right? Yeah, the Elune, perhaps the duality. We saw the duality of Elune. Elune is a moon, bright, giver of life almost. But when her vengeance was invoked, Tirana became the Night Warrior. A very dark and powerful being that eventually consumes its host. So it is entirely possible that this may actually be Elune. Its surface blazes bright, masking shadows below.
To find him, drown yourself in the circle of stars.
And we fucking speculated so much about what the circle of stars could be. And now it says she has transcended the circle of stars and basks in her eternal grandeur. So we clearly don't know what the circle of stars is. We've not encountered it yet. Now, I still think it may be the Maelstrom. I still think it could be the Maelstrom. But it could also not be the Maelstrom. The final gate to get to the actual Soul of Azeroth, or to get through the Umbral Veil, which might be the thing that encases all of Azeroth. So when you look at a map of Azeroth, let's just quickly pull this up. So if you look at this map, imagine if all of this is kept in a veil. So all of these planets, or continents, are kept in a veil where nothing can get in and nothing can get out. We know that nothing can get out because any ship that has ever tried to sail to the other side of Azeroth has never made it back. So either you can leave, but then once you're out, you can't come back, or you can't leave and you can't come back, and it kills you if you try to get through it. Unless you unless you can go through the Circle of Stars, in other words, through a back door that's been created within that umbral veil, if that makes sense. What does umbral mean? What's the meaning of umbral? Shadow. Umbral is derived from the Latin umbra, meaning shadow. It is also the Spanish and Portuguese word for threshold, and sometimes used as a surname in that language. So, umbral means shadow, or threshold. The umbral veil, the threshold, the shadow veil. I'm going to go with my theory because I think my theory is cool. I'm sure all of you have your own theories. By the way, love by proxy. 2 months, part of the DJ Nation. Appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're far too kind. All right, let's get back into the Whisper, shall we?
5 keys to open our way. 5 torches to light our path.
Bro. Doesn't it say that? Doesn't it say that the torches have been lit? The torches have been lit. The secrets he buried will strike as a dagger into the hearts of his kin. Can only be this. The Oathstones. Someone, this is from the Forbidden Reach. It has to be. It has to be that.
5 keys to open our way. 5 torches to light our path. Flesh is is his gift. He is your true creator.
And there we have another one. Bro, these whispers are so linked. Because it says here, the Harbinger gathers the children of the first flesh to reclaim what was lost. Now, first flesh could also be proto-drakes. It is said that the proto-drakes were created within the elemental realms, right? They come from the elemental realms. They must remember their vows and serve those to whom they owe fealty. The Harbinger gathers the children of the first flesh to reclaim what was lost. They must remember their vows and serve those to whom they owe fealty. Tell us, but they're not flesh. The elements are not flesh. The proto-drakes are flesh, but the elements are not. Yeah, like normal, old god whispers will drive you crazy. Welcome back to the days of Legion, where me and Chap would spend fucking hours listening to the whispers of Ilgenoth, trying to figure out what they mean.
The Lord of Ravens will turn the key.
Khadgar is back this expansion. For what reason? He's not done anything yet. Except if his job has not turned up yet. Khadgar or Odin. It could be Khadgar or Odin. Yes, you guys are very correct, right? But right now, my money is sort of on Khadgar, just because the key, the Lord of Ravens will turn the key. The key that will be open, or the key that will be turned, is the key that opens the Master's way, right? And we already know that it is the 5 torches, or the lanterns, that is darkened, that needs to be relit to open the Master's way. So all of these things have to be connected in some way. Odin will never turn that key. Odin hated the dragons when they first were created. He was actually the one Titan Keeper that said no to the creation of the dragon aspect. So Odin would almost never do this. I highly doubt that Odin would go down this road. So I genuinely don't think it's Odin. It has to be either Khadgar or Medivh. Medivh, you have a problem because Medivh is stuck in Karazhan. Medivh can't leave Karazhan. That's where his soul resides now. If he tried to leave, he'd probably die. So I don't know if it would be Medivh. It's far more likely that it would be that it would be Khadgar. He was preparing to return in another form or something to that effect. Yeah, but I don't know if we've seen anything like that. Any chance the master could be Morazan? No. No, the old gods would not refer to Morazan as their master. Unless, of course, I'm really correct in one of my most far-out theories to date. So, I have a very old theory. It's not even necessarily that old. It's just it's so unlikely that it might just be likely. But my theory is that perhaps Morazan created the void in the first place. And the way I arrive at that theory is sort of timeline fuckery. Because, and I'm going to need paint for this, because how else am I going to fucking explain this? Alright, so if you have the timeline, right? So imagine this is a timeline, this is the beginning, and this is the end, right? Here's your timeline. Now, things happen in this timeline. We might be here, or we might be here, wherever we may be. We don't know right now within the timeline where we are. We know that the end time is the Hour of Twilight, right? So the Hour of Twilight is the end time. This is where everything ends. And that's according to everything that Nosdormu saw, everything that Morozond saw. Everything ends with the Hour of Twilight. It's almost as if that is a moment that can't be escaped from. It has to happen. The Hour of Twilight, of course, is the moment that the old gods consume the universe. Now, my oldest theory to date is that the Titans say that everything, the universe and all things in it, started in an ocean of light. So my theory is that this is a cyclical system. So in other words, there's been multiple times, and this comes from the Whisper of Xal'atath, where she says, did the Naru tell the Draenei about the battles about those that came before them, about the endless battles and the endless cycles that we've been at war with each other? That's a Xal'atath whisper. We went through that last week. So my idea here is that as the universe comes to an end, it all forms back into an ocean of light. So this is the ocean of light, right, over here. And the darkness all around it. So the void all around it. Eventually, the ocean of light explodes, forms the galaxy, forms the timeline. The timeline plays out to the Hour of Twilight. And once the Hour of Twilight happens, it all goes back to the ocean of light. And it all starts over and over and over again. Anyways, that's sort of just a lot of an aside here. But, okay, so if we are to say that the timelines exist, right? And you have Nosdormu, right? So you have Nosdormu here. We'll just say Nosdormu at this moment in time. Nosdormu turns into Morozond, right? So this is the moment that Nosdormu turns into Morozond. Now remember that Nosdormu, thanks to the blessings of Aman'Thul, has control over the timelines. In other words, Nosdormu can visit any time on this timeline, back and forth. This means that Morozond has the exact same ability. Morozond can travel backwards and forwards on the timeline. So, Morozond currently exists at the beginning of time, as well as at the end of time, and everything in between simultaneously, because Morozond exists on all of the timeline, because Morozond can travel all of the timeline. So this means that even though the Void Lords were created at the beginning of time, because Morozond can travel all of time, when Morozond was created, Morozond traveled back in time, created the void. Now the void exists throughout time, but the void technically didn't exist throughout time. The void is a creation that happened thanks to Morozond. Now, like I said, this is one of my more bonkers theories. All right. This is one of those theories that you come up with half drunk and completely baked out of your mind, even though I wasn't half drunk or baked out of my mind, but this is the kind of theories that you come up with when you start thinking about the old gods and timelines and stuff. But this is sort of like one of my very out there theories. Not saying that this is true, not saying that I believe it, but it is one of my theories, right? And in that sense, Morozond could be the master that they're referring to. But I don't know if I necessarily believe that. Okay, anyways. The Lord of Ravens could be Odin, could be Khadgar, could be Medivh. At least for now, those are the three options that we have.
A presence. Something new. Yet familiar. Yes.
A presence, something new, yet familiar, yes. We've spoken about this at length. One of these presences could have been Xal'atath, but Xal'atath would not be new to him, so probably not Xal'atath. The other presence could be us, mortals. Something new, yet familiar. Because Ilgenoth is stuck inside the dream. The nightmare, but the dream. So it is possible that Ilgenoth has never actually seen a mortal. Something new yet familiar. This is the exact same whisper that N'Zoth gave us when we visited the Black Empire in Dragonflight. A presence.
Creator. The Lord of Yet.
A presence.
Familiar.
Something new yet familiar. Put yourself in the position of a being that understands the timelines and know how the timelines work. We arrive in his realm for the first time ever. He's never experienced us nor seen us. Yet this is not actually the first time that he's experienced us or seen us. Because he knows the timelines. We were already there, even though we've never actually been there. But because he knows the timelines, he knows that we will be there. So it's a presence. It is something new, yet it is familiar. So he knows who we are because we have already fought him. He knows how it's going to work. Yes, I would consider WoW races to be Xenos.
Yes. Your coming was foretold in the rings. The long circle is nearly complete.
This whisper, by the way, is part of what feeds into my timeline theory. Your coming was foretold in the rings. The long circle is nearly complete. The long circle of time. In other words, this has happened before. This will happen again. It's an endless cycle. It's an endless battle. It's a battle between the light and the void. A battle for supremacy. Every single time the void wins, the light retreats back into its ocean of light, and it tries again. Changing small things every single time in the hopes that it can sort of circumvent the penultimate fate of the universe, which is the Hour of Twilight. So every time they make small changes to it, this is where someone like Sargeras comes in, and this is when I came up with this theory back in Legion. Sargeras was featured very heavily. Sargeras wanted to destroy all life in the universe, not because he was actually the enemy, but because he was trying to break this cycle. Sargeras figured out what the other Titans could not. That, as things currently stand, their loss is inevitable. They will inevitably die. So he decided to change something. Instead of just going along with it, keeping the order until the penultimate hour of twilight, he will change something. He will use the demons in order to destroy all life in the universe, and hopefully that resets it to ensure that the hour of twilight never takes place. Do you think time itself is of order? Would it not be of decay? Time would almost definitely be of both, because time both offers structure, but also decay. So it would probably be a bit of both. Which, again, our theory sort of suggests that all of the cosmological higher magics is a collection of primal magics within the universe.
Come, little ones, savor your fear as we feast upon it. At last, the feeding hour. Rejoice.
The Old Gods keeps mentioning, by the way, deaths are coming. How you doing, bro? Thanks for the first time chat. Really appreciate that. The Old Gods keep mentioning the circle or the circle of stars. Is it possible the circle is referring to the timeline, and us going back in time in Dragonflight and N'Zoth knowing us is in the beginning of the circle? So the circle of time is, I mean, it's definitely relevant, right? It's almost like at this point, I'm almost convinced that time is a circular concept, and that time does repeat itself, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that. Like the circle of stars, we now sort of know has to be a place thanks to this new book that's coming in patch 10.0.7. The new book suggests that Rise, Rise, our queen calls to us from beyond the umbral veil. She has transcended the circle of stars and basks in her eternal grandeur. Right? So the circle of stars is an actual place. Unless, of course, she transcended the circle of stars. In other words, she transcended time itself. It's doubtful, though, but circle of stars could be that, right? The life cycle of stars. It could definitely be that.
The end comes soon. Oblivion offers solace. Take the gift. Take it. You have failed those who needed you. Your light sputters out.
These are just combat lines, though?
Do not fight it.
This is again one of those wild things. The death. We spoke about this so often. Welcome death. Do not fight it. And yet, we know that death is not the realm of the void. At least we now know that. And Blizzard would have known that when they came up with these whispers. But Yogg-Saron calls himself the god of death. So clearly death is not death. Not the way that we see it, at least, or what we saw.
Release your grip on hope.
Death. Hope. Sylvanas hated hope. Wanted to kill all hope. There's something here. I can't connect it. But there's something here. There's some slither of truth in this that we're missing.
The pain of flesh is fleeting. True torment lasts forever. What pointless impudence! We share a master.
This is where you actually start to do damage against him. I believe when you get into his heart. We've speculated about this a ton as well. We share a master. Now, let's get back to this origin. Even now, the Harbinger gathers the children of the first flesh to reclaim what was lost. They must remember their vows and serve those to whom they owe fealty. What if we are the children of the first flesh? Because prior to us, flesh wasn't on Azeroth. They gifted flesh. We are its children because we were made flesh. And what if our forefathers vowed to battle the Titans? Remember, as soon as the gift of flesh took hold, the beings fled. The Titan Keepers tried to keep tabs on their creations, but we fled. We ran away. So what if this whisper from Ilgenoth, we share a master, what if this is what it's referring to? Being the children of the first flesh and needing to remember our vows and serve those to whom we owe fealty, Titans and Keepers going out of their way to paint the Black Empire as being chaotic and completely without progress. Yeah. Why else would they want to destroy all documents of that time? All notions, everything has to be destroyed. If not for the fact that they effectively changed the past. They changed the past, and what better way than to co-opt the Master's children? So the Titans, in some very clever bait and switch, turned us from being the children of the Void, the ones who fought on the side of the Void and the Masters, into their weapon. Having us, through a lot of indoctrination, we now believe that the Void is the enemy and the Titans are our friends. But if you listen to N'Zoth, N'Zoth does not regard us as the enemy. In fact, N'Zoth keeps testing us. N'Zoth doesn't want to kill us. He gifts us with his own power. The gift of N'Zoth, that's his power. Why would he do that if we were his enemy? It may actually be that he was trying to make us remember our original vows. That we vowed to fight the Titans, to fight the Order of the Titans. Stabbing the world to open her, just like shown in Ouroboros, sword sinks into place in other and open ways, especially on that quest in the Goofy Zone. There's so much here that can be unpacked.
Every blow struck at our heart will be repaid 1,000-fold. Out! Out! You are not yet worthy.
You are not yet worthy. This is when he chases us out of his heart chamber. This was a test. Out, out, you are not yet worthy. You're not yet worthy to kill me. You have not yet proven your worth. I'm not trying to stop you from killing me. I understand that you have to kill me, but you're not yet worthy. Again, tests all the way through. The old gods continuously testing us. For what purpose? Waraith, how you doing, bro? Thanks for the follow. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Still you fight. Still you refuse the gift. N'Zoth, I journey to Ny'alotha.
See what I told you guys earlier? Mary, by the way, thanks for the follow. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I told you guys this earlier. When the old gods and their creatures speak about Ny'alotha, they do not speak of it as a place that is lost. They speak of it as a place that exists. It is currently still in existence, yet we have not seen it. We've seen elements of the Black Empire, but we have not seen it. And this is where I get to the Umbral Veil. What if the Umbral Veil is a veil erected around these continents to keep Ny'alotha out? So Ny'alotha exists all around the edges here. The Titans could not destroy Ny'alotha. So all they could do is keep it out by erecting what is called the Shadow's Veil. The Umbral Veil. Or the Threshold Veil. So once you step over this veil, you step over the threshold, you enter into Ny'alotha. Because the old gods do not speak of Ny'alotha as a place that's gone, even though the Titans claim that they have destroyed it. Some good-ass lines about Titans and Order. You should listen to the raid voice lines. Link, D-Rocker? Do you have any idea on who the Queen is? Oh yeah, the Queen is Ajara. These pages are from Naga. These are Naga pages. The Queen is absolutely Ajara. Veil made of shadows hides the truth. Wow, that sounds so familiar. Veil made of shadows hides the truth. Where is that from? Or why does that sound so familiar to me now? Veil made of shadows hides the truth. Oh, God. That sounds super, super, super familiar to me now.
Unworthy mortals, when my kin are unleashed, we will reclaim this world for true dragonkind. The false reign of the aspects will be ended.
I remember listening to this one.
The age of the Incarnates begins! Marked by lightning. Let devastation spread! Die, mortals!
Bunch of useless combat lines. Give us the juicy shit. Come on.
Nothing will be left standing. These winds peel flesh from bone.
Yeah, get to the juicy whispers. Come on.
The elements answer to me! You think the Titans brought order to this world? No!
Again, this is exactly what the Titans themselves kind of admit in their book before the game even came out. This is exactly what the Titan... Like, bro. The Titan Keepers themselves say this. Giant Rat Guy, if I don't trust her, I can corroborate her words with that of the Titan Keepers. The Titan Keeper say, to the heretics, to those among you that believe that the Titans did not create everything, can something even be considered created before it's been ordered? This is from Tyr himself, effectively admitting that there are Titan Keepers who questioned the narrative that the Titans created everything, that the Titans brought order to the universe, or to the world. Now Razageth says this too.
They shackled it! What they could not control, they imprisoned. Just like the aspects did to us!
They shackled it. What they could not control, they imprisoned. They shackled it. Azeroth? Decay? Galakrond? They shackled it. These are two different sentences. It speaks of two different things. First, they shackled it. So something was shackled. What they could not control, they imprisoned. Just like the aspects did to us. Old gods. Would old gods pass as it? Would they not be them? Sylvanas claims this world is a prison. Right? I don't know.
Ruin! Ruin! We will break their chains and restore the glory of dragonkind!
All of the Incarnates believe that whatever gift the aspects accepted from the Titans stole the glory of dragonkind. It ruined what dragons were meant to be. She says this to Rathian as well. When Rathian tells her in the beginning, in that cinematic, that he wishes to be what, Deathwing wasn't, she almost loses her shit. Because even if, according to her at least, even if Deathwing was at his best, he could never be what an actual dragon would have been. And this is, if you think about what the Titans do, this is exactly what they do. They don't bring order. They limit power.
But you will not survive to witness this new age. My power surges! The might of the storm falls upon you! Minions of the storm, hear my call!
I'm just listening to see if there's any real cool ones.
Arise and unleash your power!
Someone should make a video just about the cool whispers or
Lightning!
voice lines.
Touch this altar with your power! The aspect's hold on us is broken. Their prison falls! Every trace of the Titan stain will be purged from this world.
And you have to understand something. Nowhere in this does it speak of the Incarnates serving the Void. It's only Iridikron that apparently made deals with some unknown entity. The aspects themselves, these Incarnates, did not strike deals with the Void, at least not according to Nosdormu. And yet they despise the Titans. They hate what the Titans have done. Why? If they're not serving the Void, and the Incarnates say, at least Razageth says, that the Titans did not bring order to our world, then what exactly did the Titans do to Dragonkind? What was it that vexed the Titan? Because the thing is, if you listen to Alexstrasza, she makes it sound as if they weren't always enemies. It wasn't as if Razageth and Iridikron and those hated the dragon aspect from the off. Something turned them into enemies eventually. Yeah, they were classmates. Exactly.
That will cleanse the world. Pathetic. Unworthy. Your end was inevitable.
Huh. This was actually very good. Cheddar Bay Biscuits, dude, 4 months part of the DJ Nation. Appreciate you, fam. Thank you, thank you, thank you. They could wield any magic needed. Well, their magic would have largely been unchecked, right? Their magic would have largely been whatever they are capable of channeling. Whereas now, with the aspects, their power is ordered. So, perhaps according to Razageth, limited? And it might actually make sense. It was the Proto-Drakes, not the aspects, that took down Galakrond. It was before they became Proto-Drakes. So their power was pretty immense, if you will. Could it be that the Keepers saw the powers of the Proto-Drakes and recognized it as problematic, and therefore decided to bring order to that power to make it controllable? In other words, another form of control. And this is what the Incarnates are fighting against. That level of control that's been introduced as a result of the ordering of their power. So we're going into decay. The Gnolls worship rotten decay and use decay magic. Yeah, well, decay, like, look, The magic of the gnolls is literally Galakrond. Do yourself a favor, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. Do yourself a favor, read Dawn of the Aspects. Read Dawn of the Aspects, read what is said about Galakrond, and the sort of the things that follow in Galakrond's wake, what the dragons, specifically the undead dragons, experience and how they act. It is exactly what we see with the gnolls in Dragonflight now. Exactly the same thing. I stand with Order. If the other powers, Giant Rat Guy, you stand alone, fam. I do not stand with Order. I have severe trust issues with the Titans. I don't like them. I've never liked them. So I would be happy to join any force that's willing to fight the Titans.